Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The boy is back. The boy is back. I'm gonna let a few people jump in here before we gotta get to the nitty-gritty and shit. We gonna get to like the very like basic shit. Shit you really would not understand. You feel me? What up, y'all? What up, everybody tuning in? What up? Everybody coming through. Hey, Daddy is crazy. That is insane work. That is foul work. What up, y'all? Everybody tuning in the stream. All right, so I'm like get to this in a few. I just want to play some music real quick. Hold on. If y'all don't mind, I'm about to just literally start spamming chill Cardi beats. Hold up, give me a second. If y'all know who Adrian is, he'd be like making Cardi beats and shit. All right. So we're gonna talk about the video I made like yesterday. The Super Saiyan, or it was like Super Goku versus GT Goku. A lot of people had like issues with what I had to say. They were like telling me, that I know what I'm talking about, that I'm coping in gooning for GT, and I'm doing all this like this extra stuff. And to me, I never thought it was that serious because like I'm just essentially just chilling and giving my opinion on certain things. But y'all know how like KPGT fans and super fans get, like whenever you don't agree with like everything they have to say, either you haven't watched the show or you don't know what you're talking about, or you're coping and you're trying to say something for GT that isn't true. So I'm gonna get past like all the arguments that like everybody was getting. I don't really care who sits and watch. I was gonna make a video, but I thought it was kind of redundant and a little stupid because then if somebody has something they want to say, then like I got to make another video responding to that. So let me stop yapping and get y'all actually interested real quick, and let's get to it. So first thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna just read the comments out. Some comments I did respond to, others I just said I'm not about to engage with until I make a video on it, because people thought it would be in their best interest to give me like full 5-page papers telling me why they think Super Goku wins. And respectfully, I ain't got time for that shit. So yeah, like the one time I was about to sit down and actually like respond back to one of those lengthy comments, it deleted on me. And I feel like that was God trying to tell me, like, yeah, you don't need to be doing that. So we just gonna talk about the video. It's 163 comments. A lot of them ain't really from me, but yeah, we gonna get to it now. I'm tired of wasting y'all time. Let me show y'all the screen real quick. You feed me. Show y'all the screen real quick. All right, y'all good? Y'all can see what's on the screen. Let me know. I don't want to get nothing misconstrued. I don't want to get nothing wrong. If I have the scans, I'll like look for them in this vid or something like that to back up the claims that I make. But yeah, let's just get to it. So let's start with like just the very obvious stuff out the way. So okay, let's just look through these and see which one we could find. This person. Okay, so this dude right here. I don't know this person's name. I don't know how to pronounce their name. I don't really care. What I care about is essentially the fact that this guy represents like a fine subset of people who like just don't really grasp what I'm trying to say. So let's read what he has to say. Well, actually, it's not Sugodoku space that transcends the concepts of space-time. Sugodoku space is only stated to exist between dimensions or between space-time, which could only actually be 5D due to it being an underlying layer / dimension that isn't made up of 3 spatial dimension and time. So let's start with the first thing. The first thing I don't like is you trying to back up claims that needs like sufficient evidence with claims that are in question, like, and not just in question, but like you're using presuppositions to back up presuppositions. It doesn't really make any sense, right? Like I said this before down here, like I've made the distinction, first of all, that like there's a difference between the game and the space in general. And Goku destroys the space. He doesn't just destroy the game. The game was already destroyed when Goku like destroyed the dimension. By the time Goku was about to like blow up the actual subspace that's housing Sugaroku dimension, the game was already broken. Like it was already done. So Goku like blew up the dimension itself to get up out of there, right? And that dimension, again, I said it's a transcendent concept of time and space. Um, you didn't really prove that this was like an underlying layer or dimension. You just asserted so without really any kind of evidence, which is kind of weird. You never really backed it up. You just kind of said like it's an underlying layer, and you never really justified it. Then you said it's a subspace that contains both Sugaroku space and the room of spirit and time. So let's talk about that, because I think that it doesn't make sense to say that the hyperbolic time chamber exists in that subspace. Because if that was the case, then and I'm just throwing this out there. If that was the case, then how come when characters like just throwing this out there, characters like Vegeta and Super Boo and Gotenks, when they blow up or like destroy the hyperbolic time chamber, do they fly into a subspace or do they go back to Earth? Like that doesn't really it doesn't make any sense. And then like there's never been a statement of there being a space that houses the hyperbolic time chamber besides the celestial palace. And that's like, so like it just doesn't make sense to me how we're saying that this scan includes the hyperbolic time chamber. And I understand it does, but like logically that can't flow. And everybody's telling me like, oh, you can't use headcanon, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't use headcanon. But like these are the same people trying to tell me that the Dragon Ball Z movies aren't canon because of their own contradictions that they came up with, like that's in the movie. Like y'all say all day and night the movies aren't canon, and y'all use the contradictions in said material to go against official statements and stuff like that, and y'all think that's okay. But the minute I do it to justify a deductive claim, that's a problem. I don't really understand. Someone's right here. Hold up. 64 episodes of GT, and the best thing it had to offer feat wise was something super surpassed in episode 12. Now you're just stuck wanking the Sugaroku space. I guess, buddy, you didn't really debunk me. You're just yapping. It's a yap. Again, 64 episodes of GT, and Goku surpassed your entire series in literally, I would believe, like the 30th or 31st episode. Like in half the series, it surpassed the entirety of Super. So you can keep coping all you want to. That's fine. It's not really going to change how I feel. So like I said, though, logically and just based on what we see and what's established in the series, hyperbolic time chamber cannot exist in this subspace. It can't. Like logically, it just isn't demonstrated to. However, we know that like the opposite is true with Sugaroku space. The game gets destroyed and torn apart, and there's a subspace outside of it. Like you see it. So like I don't understand why this is all of a sudden headcanon when like the scan exactly shows and dictates what shows up in GT. Like what shows up in GT is that the game gets destroyed and there's a subspace that houses the game. You see the dimension housing the game. You see it. So like, matter of fact, I could pull up the clip. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me do this real quick. I'm gonna show y'all what I'm talking about. I'm gonna show y'all exactly what I mean. Because I'm gonna get this like, my bad. I'm sniffing and stuff. All right, so I'm gonna show y'all exactly what I'm talking about. And this is gonna clear up a lot of confusion. It's in the video that I posted, but just for those who want that extra clarification, I got you. So let me go ahead. GT Gogeta and Super Saiyan 4 Omega Shenron in 100. What the? Kaba doesn't even get past base GT Goku during the baby saga. Like, yeah, no, bro. He doesn't even get past that Goku, let alone the Goku that like literally just ascends with Bro, you don't want that. That's not a good battle. All right, let me show y'all what I'm talking about in regards to the space, right? So if you look up at this right here, this little screenshot I took, you see this right there? You see that black right there? See that black right there? Yeah, that's the subspace. So like when people are saying things like, oh yeah, the subspace doesn't exist, or the hyperbolic time chamber houses the subspace. Okay, can you show me this right here ever being present next to the hyperbolic time chamber? Can you show me that? Like that's never been shown. So like I just don't understand the argument. It doesn't make any sense. Um, like it's just very weird. Deductively, that it cannot be that. It just cannot be. So let's keep going with what was said. Um, the scan that is stated in well, hold on, let me see right here. The scan that stated is Chosenshu 4. People gotta type these better. It's Chosenshu 4, which came after the Battle of Gods movie and is not for GT, as it directly states that it is a new overview of the Dragon Ball world. Yes, the subspace is canon and super. Okay, there's a lot of issues with this. So the first issue, right, is that you think Battle of Gods is canon and super. It's not. Battle of Gods literally had to get redone and changed because of like not just because of like the differences. Like, okay, Battle of Gods is a Dragon Ball Z movie. It's not a super movie. If it belonged to the super continuity, it would have the super name on it, like literally. And super wasn't a foreign concept when the Z movies were being made, because Resurrection F came out months before Dragon Ball Super dropped. So like if they were planning including these movies in the super continuity, then again, why do they have the Z tag on it? Like it doesn't make any sense to me. If the guidebook was speaking about super and not speaking on GT, then why is it including a GT exclusive space in there? It doesn't make any sense. Like it's very confusing. So like, and then somebody called me a fraud because I said that like it's arguable that Battle of Gods and Resurrection F take place in the same like timeline as GT, not just based on Xenoverse, like I said, but also based on the fact of how like Shueisha did an official timeline for Akira, like for like an Akira Toriyama exhibit or something like that, and like they put all of that like Battle of Gods and that in the timeline with GT. So like, and the ages are different for like Battle of Gods in the movie and Battle of Gods in Super. Like the ages are different, the timelines are different. Like the stuff is different, bro. So like, no, Battle of Gods is not canon to Super. Battle of Gods is like it fits back into the original Toei verse. That's what it's a part of. But by the way, I don't want to get too sidetracked, but this is just me like spitballing off and firing away at everything. My computer about to die too. It's about to get real bad. Let me go ahead and grab my charger before we get into anything further. But I just want to say, it just doesn't make sense that like it's not for GT when it literally includes a GT exclusive space. And also, something being a new overview of the Dragon Ball world doesn't inherently mean that like everything previously doesn't matter. That just like doesn't make any sense. That like that's not inherent. That's not granted. That's like never even established. Like no. So yeah, I mentioned a lot of this in like the responses they give. It's just like it's weird. Also, some people keep trying to cling to this statement of like super dimensional, where like something is said to be super dimensional. Something being super dimensional genuinely only means beyond higher dimensions. Like that doesn't inherently indicate anything about like a specific dimensional axis or like transcending dimensionality as a whole. That's never really established or like even inherently granted based on the term super dimensional. So that's like a little bit iffy too. Like, and for those who think that's a lie or like something I'm making up and like not being serious about, right? I have that statement too as well. It's not really a statement, but more like a breakdown of Chojigan and like super dimensional and stuff like that. So yeah, just saying like something is super dimensional just means it's above like higher dimensions. That doesn't really like pinpoint anything for me. So yeah, next comment. Battle of Gods and Resurrection F are not in the GT timeline. Frieza in GT was in hell with Cell, while Frieza in the Resurrection F post Black Goku arc or whatnot is in his own personal made up heaven. Not to mention, it doesn't make any sense why Frieza never transformed in GT. Well, very simply, never had the chance to. Like Goku just beat the dog shit out of him in GT, like completely. Also, Frieza doesn't, to my knowledge, Frieza doesn't transform. Like Frieza's a reactive transformer. Frieza doesn't transform unless there's a power like that he's going up against that he feels he would need to transform for. Like, for example, Frieza transforms because he finds out that Goku has another energy state, right? In Resurrection F. When he finds out that Goku can do Super Saiyan Blue, that becomes a thing. So like, yeah. in the original manga or even in the anime, Frieza only goes 100% when he witnesses the Super Saiyan state. He only turns to his third state, his fourth state, when like Vegeta is creeping up on him in power. Like when stuff like that happens, Frieza then transforms, right? But when Goku is just casually in base chilling and they've all gotten stronger to their understanding, Frieza's not going to transform. Obviously, that's just his cockiness working for him. And that's been a common thing in Dragon Ball happening multiple times over. In my opinion, Super Goku should be the winner. He's goes to Infinite Zamasu, who's going to be able to destroy all infinite parallel worlds. That's cool, I guess. I don't really think that scales that scales somewhere, but like it doesn't really compare to destroying a subspace that transcends time and space conceptually. So I don't really know how you would want to slice that, but like, yeah, I don't know, but you know, um, by the way, do y'all want to see the statement of like the statement of hold on, somebody else, same person. I would say both GT and Super Goku are outer, but Super Goku has higher scaling via Infinite Zamasu, who has yeah. So again, I say the statements for Otherworld are very tricky, but you could assert that. That's fine. Because I know you would be pulling from like the stand or the scan in Chozenshu. Not even Chozenshu, that's Daizenshu 4. Yeah, no, that's not even Chozenshu, that's Daizenshu 4. So you would be pulling from the scan in Daizenshu 4, right? And if you're pulling from that scan is also reflective of the macrocosm in GT. So that would also mean that's another realm in GT that gets surpassed. Now, infinite parallel worlds seems to be a stretch because yeah, you can say that's your goal and that's what you're achieving to do, but did Zamasu actually do that? No. So we don't know if his potential was even confirmed in the first place. We just know that like Zamasu was going to go to one parallel world that we see. And that was when like Whis was feeling like him coming to Universe 7 or something along those lines. Or like coming like not Universe 7, like when he feels him coming to like their timeline. So yeah, essentially, I don't really know how you would want to slice that because Sugaroku space is also implied and inferred to be above the macrocosm as well, although it exists inside of it. I understand it's very tricky to grasp, but it's fiction. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. So, we know that like the Elder Kai or like the Kaioshin in general could get to any part of the macrocosm, no problem. Like, could get to any part of the macrocosm. However, they say explicitly that their power cannot reach Tsugodoku space. So if they can influence and reach the macrocosm, right? But they can't reach this space, that just explains that this is beyond their reach. So again, implying that their the transcendence level of this space is that high. So like, yeah, you could definitely infer the Tsugodoku space is above the macrocosm and like um do whatever you need to do there. Like, you feel me? Let me go grab my computer charger real quick before this live stream like abruptly ends on me. Hold up. I'll be right back, chat. It might end while I'm gone. Who knows? But yeah, hold up. I'll be right back, chat. Y'all still here? we still live. Hold on. We still live? Cause technical difficulties, folks. Oh, technical difficulties. Okay. So let's get into it. All right. Back to what I was talking about before my computer went AWOL, right? He said he was gonna destroy all of them in the manga, and he would have done it if it wasn't for Zeno stopping him. I would also say that the subspace is super too, considering that uh that isn't a created space that was specifically made in the GT. It is. It's okay. So, Gamer Forever, the only way like you could assert this is if there's even like an inkling of evidence, like leading to the fact that the subspace is in Super as well, because it's just not. Like, you never see this subspace show up except for in GT. Never. The subspace only shows up physically and visibly from what we see. And when I say physically, I mean visibly. My bad. The only time we see it visibly show up is when Goku is like when the Sugadoku space is being torn down. So yeah, like we never see that. 5 timelines of infinite snapshots, like, and even then, like that's kind of weird, because then like you would have to assert that like time is infinite too, because the only way this works is if there's like infinite snapshots of an outer versal construct being like destroyed over and over again 5 times over. Like, that's the only way this feat would like be over Goku destroying Sugadoku space. Like, if that makes sense. Because I don't even want to use like the Saiyan scholar multipliers. I feel like they're very arbitrary and you don't have to use them or assert them. I like to, just because it kind of like, furthers the scaling. And so whenever people talk about, hey, I want to use a multiplier, then that's like, okay, cool. Well, I'll just use this right here and like stuff like that. So I don't really use the multipliers, but like if you just want to like say for sake of argumentation though, yeah, like a finite snapshot, an unquantifiable snapshot of like multiple things, you feel me, isn't really like impressive. I wouldn't say impressive. Let me stop lying. That's very impressive though. I won't lie. Like, those are snapshots across the past, present, and future being destroyed 5 times over. That is highly impressive. However, to our knowledge, we know that is what Zamasu wanted to do, and that's what he was aiming to do. However, we don't know if it was a confirmed thing. We don't know if he was actually beginning the process of doing so, and we don't know if he would have actually completed said process had Zeno not shown up. So there's a lot of variables that need to be explained. But so far, what we have is just Zamasu like claiming that's what he aims to do, or that's what he's going to do, and that just sounds like a goal or an achievement that he wants to achieve in the future. Which, cool. But yeah, again, not downplaying Super by any stretch of the imagination. You could most certainly argue that what's a name? Like, you can most certainly argue that Super has an outer versal macrocosm. You can most certainly argue that. But then it would backfire in the GT as well. So like it gets very weird, Let's get back to the comments though. I feel like we lost purpose for why we were here. Let's get back to these comments. This is why I wanted to do like a live version as opposed to like just simply doing a video, because it would make things a lot more concrete. Okay, let's get back to what this person said. Do y'all want to see the scan for like for Super, or not for Super, for what's the name, for Resurrection F and like the Battle of Gods movie being in the GT timeline? Like, we could talk about that if y'all want to. I'll show that to y'all. There's like a couple of like Xenoverse interactions, and if y'all watch Drip Sauce, he talks about Xenoverse like being canon, but like not a direct, like, it's like, for example, like how Dragon Ball Super like comes directly after the Majin Buu saga, and like all the characters from those previous arcs will carry over into Super. Like, it's not like that. Xenoverse it serves as a nexus point for all Dragon Ball timelines. All Dragon Ball timelines intersect in that story. Same thing with Dragon Ball Heroes. Same thing with like Dragon Ball Forever and stuff like that. Or not Dragon Ball Forever, Dragon Ball Online and stuff like that. Like Dragon Ball Kakarot. These things are like nexus points for Dragon Ball timelines. And like essentially they're canon. They're canon, but like they're not canon to anything exclusively. It's canon to everything. Like every continuity would end up with Xenoverse as like a a chapter. So like essentially you it's a canon story. It's just not, it doesn't belong to a specific continuity. That's the best way I can explain it. And the reason being for this is because like Mira and Toa, their entire like Mira's mission on bringing Toa back happens through like 3 games. Those 3 games are their canon, but basically exactly. Yeah. Like essentially it's not specific to any continuity. Like it's not a continuity exclusive thing. Like it's a nexus point, and essentially all continuities lead to this right here. So that's what I'm trying to say. Thank you for this. I appreciate that. But that's what I'm trying to get at essentially. So now that we understand that, there would need to be a lot of things talked about here, because why would we be talking about a different GT Goku? Like what other GT Goku do we have? Genuine question. Like, because people have been trying to say like, oh, these characters are variants of themselves, and like, which it just couldn't be further from the truth. Like these are just the outright versions of the characters in their respective series, right? And we see that like yeah, I'm about to get to that right now. So on top of the Shueisha timeline that puts Battle of Gods and GT in the same timeline, Xenoverse, which like I mentioned before is canon, has GT Goku knowing and remembering past events with Beerus, Whis, and Golden Frieza, right? I'll show those on the screen in about 2.7 seconds, but just to give an overview as to what these interactions were like is essentially Beerus says that Super Saiyan 4 Goku has Super Saiyan God. I swear to God, like it's not outright, but he says it like in an implied way where it's like this is completely different from your God form, right? Like he's not speaking on like Super Goku, or like this is completely different from the Super Saiyan God form, or like this is completely different than like another Goku's form. Like he doesn't say it like that. He just outright calls it like this is completely different from your God form, implying that this is something that belongs to GT Goku, right? And that may be a stretch, but then like there's multiple instances of like Goku saying things like it's been a long time, Lord Beerus, and like, you know, it's been a long time, Whis. Whis calls like, you know, Whis says like this will be better than like your Super Saiyan. Like they say stuff like this all the time. Like it's very weird. And then Golden Frieza, they literally just remember the fight they was having. Like Golden Frieza is like, oh yeah, I guess you you know, you did power up or something like that. I'll just get all the interactions on the screen. It's just like it's a lot. But yeah, just like all around implying that GT Goku has Super Saiyan God, saying like this is completely different from your God form. We says like something along those lines, and Golden Frieza backs that up too. And then you have like the Shueisha timeline, which has you know, GT and Battle of Gods in the same timeline. The only reason why Resurrection F isn't included is because this came before Resurrection F was released. But like, why wouldn't GT Goku use Super Saiyan God and GT and say, okay, so yeah, to me, it's again just not human error, but more so like that's just, you can't go back. You feel me? Like you can't go back and change things. You can obviously like do you know, reintroductions, renditions, remakes, things like that. You can do stuff like that. But to me, I would have to do a lot of like, I could make it sound interesting and do headcanon and all that, but I'm gonna just keep it to what like real life holds it to be. Retroactive inclusion is not something that is like foreign in Dragon Ball. Like not even in just Dragon Ball, but like just in fiction in general. Like retroactive inclusion is not something that's just like it's not a foreign concept, you know? Like there's a lot of, and if I want to be blunt, there's a lot of plot holes in a lot of pieces of fiction. Who wins? Wait, who wins? Base Goku. Is that the boy Pirate Legend? Who wins Base Goku or Spider-Man? I don't fucking know. I ain't read no Spider-Man comics. I'll probably say like it depends. Uh you could say Base Goku's like anywhere from complex multi to outer. Spider-Man, like without the Captain Universe powers at least. Uh you could low-key say bro like is a solar system buster or something in that vicinity. So basically a plot hole. Like, yeah, plot holes exist in fiction all the time. Like it's essentially a very common trope, but like they're often looked past because like the 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 word of the creator supersedes essentially like our personal opinions and how we feel. So while they may have messed up or like included something that should not be included logically, it may in fact, and whenever something like that is intended to be the case, um it just like, I'm not saying you have to take it for what it is, but like you kind of got to understand it. uh but yeah, like that's why like my whole opinion on the Dragon Ball Z movies is the way it is. Like I think the movies are anime canon exclusively, like they're canon exclusively to the anime. And sure, while certain events may be contradictory, that's just human error and plot holes. You feel me? Like, um, Taco Koyama like made it clear a lot back in the day that like writing Dragon Ball movies or like making side stories and filling in the gaps when like Toriyama doesn't give you anything to go off of, is a very tricky thing. That's why like when during the Frieza saga, Turles is a movie, and Lord Slug and these Earth saga movies are there because Koyama didn't know what to do. So like he just did that. But essentially, um, if you want my more interesting version, I think Goku just evolves past using the god forms. Um, essentially, I think like, and I think like it's very, very much so implied that like Goku can use God Ki in his regular forms and stuff like that. Said that he made the movies as close as possible to canon, but it isn't perfect. Yeah, he said that like outright. Like he says like he can't deviate from Toriyama's original layout, but like that kind of leads more credence to what I was saying before. Like he wants to fit it in as close as possible, but like again, human imperfection is a thing. So like things happen and things change. I realized I've been doing more yapping than talking about comments. So let's get back to these comments. Let's get back to these comments. By the way, Frieza dying. I don't think is it confirmed in Resurrection that the Frieza goes back to his own personal hell? Who knows? Anything changes. I don't know. But yeah. Yeah, that has nothing to do with like the overall point of the video. All right, this is another recent one that someone said I got cooked on. So it comes from the same person as like the first comment before, but we're gonna talk about this real quick. So I hate when people type these long essays. Like it's so much to read. Or you could say you probably got a taste of God form, but probably chose to stick to the same root after losing. Yeah, like something like that. Like stuff like that. You could just, there's different ways of headcanon you could take it to. Because even GT Goku himself is like, like during Xenoverse and stuff like that, he calls it his ultimate form. So like even upon knowing he has a god form and stuff like that, like it's still stated that he has like an ultimate form, and that ultimate form is Super Saiyan 4. So it could be the Saiyan roots thing, it could be the fact that he just evolved past using God Ki in the form of like showing it in his red hair, blue haired state. You could argue it however but like it would need to be consistent in logic. All right, back to this though. Well, I think you misunderstood the point I was trying to make. I didn't say the room of spirit and time exists between dimensions. Okay, but you would literally be having to say that if you included the room of spirit and time as a subspace. Like if you're saying the room of spirit and time exists in that subspace that is between dimensions, like you claimed, then you would have to be saying like as a byproduct, you would have to be saying so. I said this scan specifically says that the subspace between dimensions, or that the subspace exists between dimensions, and that both the room of spirit and time and Sugodoku space exist in this subspace. Okay, so again, you then went to proceed to formulate arguments off of this statement. So like if you're trying to say, right, that's what the scan is implying, and that's the basis you're going off of. You would byproduct, like the byproduct that you doing this would be you saying that the room of spirit and time exists between dimensions. And again, that's just shown to not be the case, like outright shown to not be the case. There's not one statement calling the room of spirit and time between dimensions. When they blow up the room of spirit and time, they don't end up in that subspace. I showed the subspace on stream. If y'all want to see it real quick, I'm gonna show it to y'all again, just so we don't get anything confused. What up, Hero Sensei Kid? But I'm gonna show it again just so people don't get confused. People don't, have me misunderstood. I'm gonna show it for everybody real quick, right? As you can see right here in the picture section right here, it's all the way down here. I got a lot of screenshots, a lot of guides I'm translating, a lot of stuff I'm doing. These are videos I'm making for y'all. We about to get straight into it. So as y'all see right here, this is the subspace. This right here, that black is a subspace, right? That's the subspace that talks about in the scan. That's never shown in the anime, the manga. It's only shown in GT, and it's only shown containing Sugadoku space. So we can, you can't assert this. Like, it's very weird. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know, bro. I don't know. Now let's talk about the subspace not being canon to super. Well, the subspace not being canon makes no sense. Why? Well, there are two statements from the manga that prove exactly why the subspace exists in the manga continuity. One from Z and the other from Super. Goku and Z, when he was training Gohan in the Cell Saga, manga and anime, he stated that the room of spirit and time is disconnected from the rest of the world, so they won't be able to sense what is going on Earth. Disconnected in a literal sense means that there's a gap between two. Okay, so let's start with there. First and foremost, there could still be a gap. And I didn't think I had to explain this, but there could still be a gap and they're still on the same dimensional axes. Like, bro, what? There could literally still be a gap and there wouldn't be dimensional axes. And and then they'll still be on the same dimensional axes. I'll give you a prime example of this, right? Beerus's planet. Like, yo, oh my God. Beerus's planet. Goku literally needs somebody to shoot their energy to the absolute max, or else he won't be able to sense anything going on Earth. Like, I didn't think I had to explain this, but like when you're far away from something, you're not going to be able to sense it. That doesn't really prove your point. The same thing happens in the afterlife, but then Goku just becomes more adept and it becomes stronger, so he'll be able to sense things in a stronger manner. Like, that just doesn't really do anything for you. That was kind of weird. Like, that was a weird point. I don't think that really did anything for you. Then what was the next statement? Disconnected objects in this case is dimensions. No, being separated from the rest of the world literally just indicates that you're so far from the Earth. You're so far from, like, you could be so far from something, right, and still have time dilation. Right? Like, okay, I'll tell you what I mean. Jupiter has time dilation. There's time dilation on Jupiter, right? They receive time in a different way that we do, but we're still on the same temporal axes. Do y'all get me? Okay. The same thing can apply to the room of spirit and time. Y'all are on the same dimensional axes, but are completely far away from like another area. So y'all wouldn't be on the same time, right? Y'all would be on different time. The same way like somebody in China wouldn't be on the same time as somebody in New York. Like something like that. Like it works in that manner. So being disconnected, right, from the rest of the world is essentially the same way like the continents are disconnected from each other, but they're still on the same plane. They're still on the same axes. Do y'all get me? I think y'all are trying to understand. Does that make sense to everybody in the chat? I hope that makes some sense. Like, they're disconnected, yes, but they're still on the same dimensional axes. They're just far away from each other. That doesn't really indicate anything of transcendence or anything related to being in between dimensions. So like, yeah, that's essentially what I'm trying to get at, chat. Next scan, right? And then he says, and the only in Dragon Ball that is stated to exist between dimensions is the subspace. Is the subspace in Sugadoku space itself, right? Like the entirety of the game dimension itself, right? So yeah, those are the only two things: the subspace and the Sugadoku space itself in GT, right? However, again, being between dimensions does not mean being disconnected from a dimension. Those are not inherently connected. They're not, right? Like you would still need to be arguing certain things to get to that conclusion. We also know when Super Frieza stated that he wasn't affected by Gas's wish for the strongest in the universe because he was not in the universe, and we know from the description of the dimension he trained in, it's a room of spirit and time. This statement substantiates Goku's claim that the room of spirit and time is disconnected from the universe, so it makes sense that Frieza wouldn't be affected by the wish. Okay, there's a lot of questions about this, right? Because didn't Frieza go to another universe, bro? I could be wrong about this, but I haven't reread that part of Super in a very long time. Can somebody in the chat correct me if I'm wrong? Real quick, just somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't Frieza go to another room of spirit and time in another universe? Or correct me, like I'm wrong. Am I wrong about that? Because I don't think I am. Like he goes to like another unit, like because if that's the case, and Frieza just showed up on Earth and walked into Universe 7's hyperbolic time chamber, don't you think they would have said something about that? I'm just saying, like, don't you think? Okay, so he went to all right, for sure. So he went to the same one in Universe 7. So how did nobody know that? Like, so how did nobody notice, bro? So he just walked in. Hold on. So he just walked past Dende and them and was like, "Oh yeah, gang, I'm gonna just train in here." Like, for real? I guess. I get. Hold on. Let me see. I need to hold on. We gotta justify this because I think I'm wrong, but I don't think there's multiple rooms of spirit and time in Universe 7. Like I said, bro, I never claimed to be the guru. I never claimed to be that guy. I'm just a regular nigga talking about Dragon Ball. So if I'm wrong on this, I'm gonna take that L as a man. But let me just validate this real quick, cause hold on. There is multiple, but wait a minute. I don't think it's multiple rooms. I think there's multiple entry points. Hold up. This is gonna take a huge chunk out of my shit, bro. Hold on. Let's see what it says. Let's see what it says. What other dimension? One of my many conquered worlds, I happened to come across a chamber where time flows differently than in the outside. Oh yeah, so he was in Universe 7. Okay, cool. Yeah, so he was in Universe 7. He just seen one of his worlds down there and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna go down there and fight. I'm gonna go down there and fight for 10 years. Okay, cool. So that reinforces my point again that like you're just further away, but still on the same axes. You're just further away, so you wouldn't be affected. Okay. Okay. Because I don't really have an issue with that. That's perfectly fine. Okay. What does that really change? What does that really change? You can just say the room of spirit and time is outside of Universe 7. I mean, that's fine. That's fine. Because, well, outside of Universe 7, but like, just to ask another question, how could Gas be the strongest in the universe, hypothetically speaking, if he's referring to the entirety of Universe 7? Because if he's referring to the entirety of Universe 7, that would include like characters like Beerus, Whis, things like that, right? Unless they were not there. But no, they was there. They was there. They was in Universe 7 at the time because they just came from training with, bro. They were there. So it couldn't have been talking about Universe 7, and I mean macrocosm speaking, because Beerus and Whis were there. So I think it'd be referring to like the actual, like, yeah, it might be referring to like the living world, because that's also called the universe too. Not the living world, but like, okay. The wish excluded the gods. Are you sure? Like he outright said, like, no gods. I just want to be like stronger than everybody else in the mortals. The strongest in the universe, 7, which excluded the destroyers and angels. That's an outright statement. Because I got to read Super again. Is that an outright statement? Or is that like something we're inferring? Let me know now. If it's just something we're inferring, then I might have to press that even more. But if it's something that like's been outright stated, then I cannot argue anymore, and we moving on to the next thing. And he get that dub there. So let me know, because if it's like a verbatim stated thing, Turnable said excluded gods. Yes, all right, for sure. All right, we good then. So then, yeah, he got that. He got that. Absolutely. Like I said, broken clock is right 2 times a day. You feel me? So he got that. Let me get back to the comments. Texting my mom real quick. Give me 2 seconds, chat. Hold up. I also Googled it too. And the first picture I got was the wish itself. It was the wish itself, bro. So you wish to become the most powerful life form apart from the gods themselves. Yup. That's the wish. That's the wish. That is the wish, folks. All right, that's an outright statement. So, bro got that. But does that really debunk the point, though? I'm trying to think. Because being outside of Universe 7 doesn't really inherently mean you're on a different dimensional axis. Like, inherently, I wouldn't say like you would have to, it would require further argument, but yeah. Okay, I had a feeling, because you could still be outside of something and not transcend it. Like if that makes sense. Like, okay, because I just wasn't understanding for a second. I just wanted to see if it bro is denying every feat. I'm reading a YouTube comment, by the way, chat. Somebody said I was denying every feat I saw. I don't think I was, bro. I think I gave a GT. I think I gave Super Goku a lot of praise in that video. All right, let's keep going back to the comments. I still don't think that debunks my point, but all right, we back to it. What's the next one? The room of spirit and time isn't a pocket dimension that exists within the universe. Okay, so these two things aren't inherently connected either, because again, you could still be a pocket dimension, right, and not be within said universe. And again, a prime example of this, like a genuine example of this, is like Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat is a prime example of this. In Mortal Kombat, I just played this. There's a pocket dimension that exists in Mortal Kombat that doesn't exist in any part of the universe, but it doesn't transcend the universe, if that makes sense. Like, again, an asteroid exists outside. Like, it exists outside of us, but it doesn't transcend us. Does that make sense? So, like, you can still exist outside of something and not necessarily transcend it. But yeah, it's a very tricky thing, bro. It's a very tricky thing. This is a lot. Then he says, the scan showing both the room of spirit and time in Sugodoku space is not disproves the subspace being canon and super. We know that the guides cover every continuity in Dragon Ball, or in a Dragon Ball manga, anime, and movies. We know in Daizenshu they cover Dead Zone, which isn't in the manga. Okay, yeah. So this isn't what I was saying, right? First of all, the Daizenshu is an entire Dragon Ball encyclopedia. So of course, obviously, that's the point, right? But what I'm saying is, right, is that not only was the book made before Super was even a thing, but again, the book also showcases Super or GT exclusive spaces. So if it's not in reference to GT, then why would there be a GT exclusive space in said scan? That's the whole point. Like, it's not just the fact that, like, what's the name? It's not just the fact that, like, the scan shows them. It's the fact that the scan literally shows a picture from Dragon Ball GT. Like, outright. That's a GT exclusive space, and it feeds more back into my point if you agree with the premise that the movies Resurrection F and Battle of Gods exist in the GT timeline. So like, bro, it just doesn't make it good for you. Like, it doesn't make it good for you, bro. Does that again, it's gonna make it seem like I can't read because the comment is typed bad, bro. The comment is typed poorly. Does that Daizenshu isn't does that mean Daizenshu isn't a reliable guide for the manga? No, I never claimed that. I never said that. That's not what I meant. Because it covers something that's not in the manga? No, that's not what I said. Well, no, because we know that guides exist to provide information that isn't expanded upon in manga. Sure, but there's a difference between expanding on something that isn't in manga and expanding on something that isn't in that continuity completely at all. Like, again, I'll give you a prime example, right? Gods of Destroyers, right? Or did I just say Gods of Destroyers? Destroyer gods. My brain isn't working. Destroyer gods. They essentially weren't a thing in the Dragon Ball Z manga, right? That does not mean that the entire continuity, right, doesn't include like destroyer gods. That's not what I'm saying. Like, what I'm saying is, if you are going to like take this exclusive snapshot directly from the series as a means, and by the way, this space only exists in this series. If you are taking a snapshot, a name that comes exclusively from the series, you would have to be bringing the series in as a reference point. You would have to, because that's what you're using to back up these, bro. I feel like I'm yapping, but I'm trying to get it through to everybody like that. Simply, this isn't my point. I'm simply saying that because a space that only is stated to exist, right, that is only shown to exist in GT, is mentioned in this book, GT would have to be accounted for in said book. Like, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all it is. That's all it is, bro. Like, Sugoroku space could be one of those not expanded in the manga, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Okay, so you would have to back that. Like, you would literally have to back that. Like, bro, what? You would literally have to back that. Bro just threw out a random claim with no basis, no justification. It was just like, yeah, you have to assume it's this. Like, what? As for Goku destroying the subspace, I think you misunderstood that as well. You see they both Sugoroku space and the room of spirit and time described by Elder Kai is that in the Buu saga, Elder Kai states that Gotenks and Buu were fighting in a different dimension of time. Okay. Cool. First of all, that literally doesn't mean like, first of all, dimension can simply just mean area. It could mean space. It could mean a lot of different things, right? So if I'm saying that somebody's in a different area of time, right, that's not really indicating anything of transcendence. And even then, I'm not disagreeing with the fact that it's a different like a dimension. I'm not disagreeing with that, but it's still on the same temporal axes. Like, bro, it's still on the same temporal axes. The effects of time are just different because of how far one thing is from the next. That's my whole point. That's all it is. Like, space in general moves like this. So you would literally like Earth and space science in like in sophomore year of high school could get you this. Like, I don't know, bro. It's a lot here. A lot here that we're not really getting to exactly. End of Z Goku already scaled above Arale, according to El Manga Legendario, who's still a big deal in Super pre-TOP. I'm assuming because of the filler episode where Arale shows up and starts beating up on Goku and Vegeta in them and like takes like good shots from Goku and Vegeta and then like does crazy feats and stuff like that. But then at the end of Z, which is what Goku is based off of, he's already above Arale, but he's not. That's not essentially. I wouldn't say it's a bad point, but like it isn't like a one-shot gotcha moment. You feel me? I'm about to sneeze. It's not like a one-shot gotcha moment. It's not like that. Because then, like, that would mean one of two things. Either those Orales are different, or essentially, yeah, GT Goku would be stronger. But like, it's arguable. You would have to argue it. Like, oh, I knew I wasn't tripping. Okay, I knew I wasn't tripping. Like, I literally have all 4 Chosenshu translated. Like, bro, okay. So yeah, it includes GT. Like, it's a part of GT. And wait a damn minute. Hold up. Hold on. Because I remember the Chosenshu guides, and there's not one manga panel in that guide. There's not one manga panel in that guide. Not one. There isn't one. No. I thought I was tripping because like I thought I remember seeing that scan in the Chosenshu, and I just like I wasn't gonna mention it until somebody else backed me up on it. But yeah, sometimes the afterlife is also called a different / next dimension, but it doesn't transcend the universe 7 macrocosm. Exactly. Like, what to do default edits? What up, gang? All right, but yeah, there's like a lot of things you could argue here. It's just like, anyway, let's just keep going. Also, we are forgetting that Super Goku, as he is now, could solo everyone in his base form. Like, we're not even talking about modern day GT Goku. We're talking about Goku when he first got Super Saiyan 4 and couldn't even stand up to someone as weak as Omega Shenron. That's like heavily downplaying Omega Shenron and like discounting his power. Because you could argue that Omega Shenron did a better feat than Goku and Beerus did by doing less. Like, literally. Like, what? Omega Shenron was going to lay waste to the entire macrocosm by just casually existing. Like, what? Like, huh? Like, there's like multiple statements of this. And like, it was, bro, the funny part is they thought it was going to happen so fast, like the Kaioshin. They thought it was going to happen so fast to the point where like Kibito Kai was like, yo, we should leave like right now. Like, we need to get up out of here right now. Like, so that just kind of proves how fast that shit was gonna happen. Another scan. Here's this. I think I responded to this too, but yeah. If I responded to the comment already, I'm not gonna keep going back and forth unless there's like something being said here that would essentially, like, you know, if it's like a new response that I haven't gotten to, essentially, then I'll move past it. If it's like a new response though, I'll answer it. I'll like respond to it. I agree with GT being above Super, and you make valid points. Although I see how people can argue Super is stronger as well. Yeah, I'm not saying that like Super is just like some unfounded, like, it will never be better than GT. It will never be stronger than GT. There's most certainly a chance. Like, wasn't Omega saying that he was going to destroy the universe over time? No, he didn't say it. Old Kai said it, and even then, doesn't really debunk the feat because Goku and Beerus, they were going to do it over time as well. Like, like their feat was an overtime thing as well, and not even trying to hate on Goku, but like Goku himself, not Goku himself, but like old Kai says that Goku will destroy all things in the macrocosm. He never says like the macrocosm as a whole, meaning the barrier that keeps everything contained wasn't going to be destroyed. However, with Omega Shenron, it was. So like that's like a difference between the feet. It's a very small, minuscule difference, but it does scale it a little bit higher. There's that. Sugaroku space, the instant transmission zone, stuff like that. Those things exist in like movie timeline, Z time, or GT timeline exclusive things. These realms all exist. And like that case doesn't apply for like when we see that case just doesn't apply for like when we see Super and things like that. But yeah. Let's keep going with these comments. I've been here for an hour and I didn't even notice it, Chad. We only go through like 3. There is no official multiplier for Super Saiyan 4 or any of the God forms, so it comes down to headcanon and assumptions. Yeah, outright. You brought up Saiyan Scholar's video, which I find to be one of the more I can't read reliable forms of scaling, as he sticks to consistent forms of base form scaling, which makes it easier to follow. In which he does the same for Dragon Ball Super. There's a lot of code from both sides of the fandom, and frankly, the fact that people don't have an open mind about one or the other option states a lot about the Dragon Ball fandom. That's facts. But overall, I see the points people make for GT over Super and Super over GT. And since so much is up for interpretation, it can honestly go either way. Exactly. Like that's been my whole thing. I'm just the way I'm going, I'm saying GT. Uh Once again, uh but if I believe I were but if I but But I believe if you were able or if you were to account for the base form power jumps compared to each other, GT does have a significant amount or a more significant amount in a more drastic difference between each jump. If someone has a problem with that view, I recommend looking into both of Saiyan Scholar's vids. Facts. If y'all have an issue with like the base form jump multipliers that I did, and like that Saiyan Scholar did in his video, go watch those and then address them to him, because I didn't come up with them, but I would be willing to defend them just as much as Saiyan Scholar would, arguably. I don't know. But yeah, that's just what it is. And if you disagree, if you disagree, that's fine. But the last thing I'll say is I find it funny how GT is still being compared to Super. If it really were a closed argument, like people say, this debate would have ended almost 10 years ago. Facts. But great video, and I'm sorry you got people who can't seem to have an open mind coming at you. Appreciate you, Noah. Thanks for the comment. I really appreciate that. Great outview or outlook. Yeah. The literal first scaling is wrong. The statement "wander forever" is temporal. How do you inflate a temporal statement? I think you meant conflate. How do you conflate a temporal statement to infinite spatial size? What? Okay, I'll run it to you like this. If you are wandering forever, if you're taking infinite steps, right? I want y'all to understand that. If you are going to be taking infinite steps, you would have to come across an infinite distance, because you cannot do infinite steps, right? Like infinite steps of walking, infinite steps of motion, if there isn't an infinite distance for you to cross, because you are going to stop or come to a stop, right? Because the distance is going to be reached. Like the max distance is going to be reached. So like if the space isn't infinite, how could you wander forever? You're going to stop wandering eventually. Like have you seen the Teen Wolf movie yet? It was so bad. I seen the Teen Wolf movie when it first came out, like a year ago. And I made like a review on it a year ago, and yeah, that movie was terrible. Shouldn't have never been made. It shouldn't have never been made ever. Like there should have never been like a point where that movie was made, and like if you weren't gonna give it the love it deserved or the love that it should have gotten, there should have been no reason for it to be made. A lot of stuff that just like doesn't at all account for like anything related to Teen Wolf. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but yeah, it was a bad movie overall. A few things comments have been saying in here real quick. Actually, I can see all of them. Y'all can see all of them too. Omega Shenron versus Goku, who solos. It depends on which Goku. If we're talking like 100-year time skip Goku, it's a body bag. If you're saying like Goku and Super, Omega Shenron. Yeah, the purpose of his minus energy is to corrupt and rot. It would have taken time to do, although it's not specified how long. Yup. Wait, I thought it was going to take 3 punches for Goku and Beerus to destroy the macrocosm or the universe, not over time. Not exactly. So if you pick up like everything that's stated, right? Like, what's the name? the destruction of the energy, although it was reaching the Elder Kai space, right? The shockwaves were literally getting stronger and stronger as time, or not as time was passing, but as it was continuously moving through the universe and through the macrocosm, it was getting stronger and stronger. However, that's not the case with Omega Shenron, because Omega Shenron, his energy beam was focused and centralized and condensed and aimed at Gogeta in them. Like, he focused it at Gogeta, at Goku, at the entirety of the earth. That's where it was centralized at. So when it gets centralized there, well, basically what was said was the remaining energy that, like, that was left over from Omega Shenron's destruction of the earth was going to pass and bounce through, like, it was going to, like, essentially disperse off into the macrocosm, and that dispersing was going to rot away the entirety of the macrocosm in the Kaioshin realm. So that was the feat. Essentially, it but yeah, not necessarily move in a circle. No. if you move in a circle, I want you to understand this, right? If you move in a circle, right, your destination is gonna get reached there too. Like, you're going to, first of all, you're not wandering anything. Like, it's very okay. Wander in a very, like, very small and, like, minute way to grasp is just essentially going forward. Like, it's just to go forward. If you're going forward forever, you're going to hit your destination at some point. Even if you're moving in a circle, right? 9 times out of 10, you're not necessarily wandering the dimension forever then, because that's what's stated. You're going to be wandering the subspace forever. You're not doing that. Like, you aren't, like, moving around aimlessly across the entirety of the subspace. It's not what it is. Like, you're just sticking to one selective area. You're still not wandering the entirety of said space. So, like, you can't just move in a circle and then you'd be wandering in the space. Like, that's not really what it is. But yeah, like I said, it's very tricky if you want to, like, I don't care about the size. Honestly, I don't. I just care about where it, like, scales dimensionally. Like, and dimensionally, it's above the concepts of space and time. So I don't really care. Like, I don't really care about the size. That doesn't really concern me. But yeah, outer versal is insane. You showed the subspace definition, which also mentions the room of spirit and time. Like I said, I don't think the room of spirit and time logically would be one of those, like, it would logically exist in that subspace. I think it just exists outside, like, the base universe or universe 7, which again doesn't really scale it anywhere. And seeing as how when you blow out of the hyperbolic time chamber, you don't end up in the subspace, and you end up right back on Earth or right back at the Celestial Palace. It's just pretty apparent and pretty obvious that, like, the subspace isn't the next thing. It's just not. So, excuse that. If y'all heard that, that was nasty. My bad. But yeah, I just don't think that, like, that really did anything. Like, hold on. Let's keep reading these comments, man. It's a lot going on. Health officials warn of risks associated with drinking apple cider. Damn, you can't do nothing. Yo, you can't do nothing. Next thing they're finna tell you is the scientists have come up with the side effects of breathing. Like, what? All right, no more getting sidetracked. Let's get back to it. Just watching the fight between Super Goku in his MUI form and GT Goku in his Super Saiyan form in Dragon Ball Heroes would just shit all over his argument, saying that GT Goku would win. No. Like, before I get to this Dragon Ball Hero stuff right here, yeah, like, it could literally be like the size of, like, a Motel 6, bro. Like, I don't really care about that. Like, I just care about like what it like the dimensional axes it's a part of, and it's not a part of one. It transcends it. So like I'm cool. Like, but yeah, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to this. We're gonna get to this. So yeah, not only is GT Goku not Xeno Goku, but CC Goku isn't Super Goku. Sure, there are variants, but they're variants that go through their own power-ups, their own essentially they go through their own events, their own scaling, their own power-ups. They go through their own different events that aren't connected back to Super, like when they come back to their quote-unquote dimension. Like, for example, I hate to be this guy, but like again, just think about it from this perspective. When has it ever been said that Xeno Goku is GT Goku? More importantly, genuine question, but like if Super Goku is really CC Goku, right? Like, why does CC Goku recognize Broly like Z Broly and other movie villains? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's confusing. So, like, unless y'all trying to tell me that the movies are canon to Super, which doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know. Also, how does Super Saiyan 4 Goku equal? How does Super Saiyan 4 Goku equal Super Saiyan Blue debunk Gogeta over Kappa? I think they're talking about the Limit Breaker fight. Like when it was like Goku versus Xeno Goku, and Goku went up to Limit Breaker and he fought and Xeno Goku was or no Super. I think it was like CC Goku. CC Goku was like still in UI Omen. And then like after UI Omen, he like randomly spiked up in an MUI and then he beat Limit Breaker that way. Which is more so of like a I could cope and talk about it all day, but like, yeah, nah. All different facts. They're just different people, bro. Inherently different people. Okay, this guy right here, this dude right here. I have a problem with very few people, but people who play the victim, I can't stand them. I hate people like that. And let me not say I hate because hate's a strong word, but I just strongly dislike people who like outright play victim. I can't stand that. So I'm gonna show y'all who I'm talking about if y'all ain't already get it from the previous pictures I showed. But like, bro, pay attention, bro. Look. This dude right here, overpowered Vegeta 2870. This guy right here is just allergic to responding to arguments and answering my points. But he has like this entitled outlook where like he loves to make it seem like he's doing more than he actually is. So ignore all these comments. The one that's relevant is this one right here. Where's it at? Where's it at? Is this right here? This entire like unless no, it's not that. Nah, it's not that. Okay. I think it's this one right here. Yeah. This one right here. This entire essay. Do y'all see this? This is a YouTube script. Like, bro, this man gave me a full essay, bro. Look at this. This is longer than something that people will type up for school. Like, this is insane. This is insane to me. Like, nobody even types this much for school, bro. Like, okay. Let's get to it. You repeated yourself without even realizing. Okay, we can get past this. I don't care about this. He cried about me, quote unquote, insulting him or being cynical. Even though now all of a sudden he doesn't care when I outright call him out for lying. But sure, okay. Let's get back to this, right? So essentially, it's a rehashing of the same argument. There's another scan showing that while the events of Dragon Ball Super were going on, the Time Patrol were going through events as well. Okay, cool. So that like kind of just helps me out. Thank you, bro. We gotta look. This is an MVP right here. We gotta look out for bro. All right, so this is like essentially a rehashing of the same arguments that like the other dude said, but we gonna get this through like real quick. So to say that they aren't comparable, you'd be entirely denying the definition of example itself, which means a person or thing regarded in terms of their fitness to be imitated or the likelihood of their being imitated, right? That's not the right context, because that speaks on like when someone says like, oh, lead by example, or essentially like set the example, something like that. That's what it's referring to. But like if I say an example of a fruit is an apple, right? Again, if I say an example of a fruit is an apple and banana, am I comparing an apple and banana to each other? No. No. I'm simply just listing them off as these are things categorized under this term, right? So the reason why he's mentioning this argument is because he's trying to say that essentially Sudoku space is only Earth-sized, which again doesn't debunk its level of transcendence. But okay, essentially he's trying to say that because Sudoku space is Earth-sized, it wouldn't be outer. So I'm gonna debunk that with this whole thing too, because it's just very stupid. So he says subspaces that exist between dimensions that have no concept of time and space. It doesn't treat Sudoku differently from the hyperbolic time chamber. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Nor does the Sudoku space have its own dedicated section. They would just be one and the same, because the same false statement directly talks about both of them in the same scan. Okay, yeah, wow, there's so much to address there. First of all, that's a hasty generalization, right? Something being listed because of it having similar aspects doesn't mean that all aspects are similar. Again, having similar aspects does not mean all aspects are similar. Okay. All right. That's the first thing. The second thing is this space or this scan falsely labels the hyperbolic time chamber as one of those spaces. That's a contradiction to one, not to both. Right? So you can't say they'd be one and the same, because one is contradicted, the other isn't. How could they be one and the same? Like, one has statements backing up its existence between dimensions and its transcendence over the concepts of time and space because of the show. The other, because of the show, has statements outright contradicting this. So you can't call them the one and the same. That just doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm not choosing to ignore anything. You're just not tracking. And then he says, I'm going on about the size when the size should be the least of my concerns. But that's literally been the driving home point for his entire thing about Sudoku space not being outer. Like, if you look at the first comment he threw, the first comment he asked, the first comment he said was, what was the size of Sudoku space? So, of course, size shouldn't be the least of my concerns, because that's what your entire argument is being predicated off of. I can't say that's the least of my concerns. I can't. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, it's really stupid. And the gap between spacetimes can also be applied to hyperbolic, which both are also explained to be another dimension in the macrocosm. And we both know of them obviously don't transcend spacetimes. And if you believe they do, then you just be questioning the Daizenchu's wording, not me, or the Chosenchu 4's wording, not me. Okay, first of all, no. Being between something does not indicate you are constrained, bound to, or limited by said something. Like, no, that does not inherently mean you are lowered or limited by said something. That's not the case. That's not true. Like, what? What are you talking about? If the concepts of time and space don't exist, that literally is existence on a conceptual level. That is existence and transcendence on a conceptual level. So what do you mean I'm questioning the Chosenchu's word and not yours? No, I'm questioning your interpretation of it. What are you talking about? What? So, okay, class, this right here is called a false dilemma fallacy, giving two options, right, that don't have to be taken. You feel me? Like, you're giving somebody an ultimatum, an option between two things that they don't have to choose that. They don't have to choose that route. So either you'd be using the one is true and one is false thing, which is just using headcanon to assume that the statement doesn't apply to the HTC and only applies to classification of Sudoku, which is false since they're both compared directly. First of all, again, they're never compared. They're never compared ever. It's never compared between the two of them, right? It's never compared. It's simply just listed. Again, if I am mentioning, right, if I am saying that an example of a fruit is an apple and a pear, am I comparing the apple and pear, or am I just saying they're just listed and they share some some qualities? That's not a comparison. That's not a comparison, bro. Now, a comparison would be me saying like an apple is bigger than a banana, or an apple is smaller than a banana. An apple has more juice than a banana. An apple brings more nutritious value than a banana. That's a comparison. Like, but me saying that an apple and a pear are both fruits are not a comparison. That's not me comparing anything. Like, wow. Okay, that was a lot. Or you just treat the entire work, those dimensionalities, irrelevant since the size doesn't even matter. So why'd you mention it? Like, what? And they don't transcend any realms, and breaking a dimensional barrier or tearing a hole in it is irrelevant. Once again, just correlating the hyperbolic time chamber with the Sudoku space. But again, that's a hasty generalization. Having similar qualities does not mean that all qualities are similar. I've said this multiple times. Like, it just, you haven't addressed these arguments. Like, you literally haven't addressed these arguments at all. You've just been repeating the same shit like 5 times over, and it doesn't really do anything for you. And then here's this right here. Don't use Xenoverse 2 as a means of confirmation, as that is a video game, as they are entirely different things and tell entirely different stories, and it has 2 different canons. Okay, this is what I mean by backing up something with something that's already in question. You're saying that, okay, so Xenoverse 2 can't be a means of confirmation. You have proof for that? Your proof for that is that it's a video game and that they are entirely different things. Okay, can you prove that? Can you prove that it being a video game takes away its canonicity? Because that's another thing in question. Like, that's another presupposition. That's something that needs to be proven. Like, you can't back up a claim with a claim that needs to be backed up too. That doesn't make any sense. Like, bro, then he says, okay, they're different things and they tell different stories. Can you prove that? Can you prove that in in Xenoverse, GT Goku's story is different? That's all I want to know. Can you prove that? And it has 2 different canons. Okay, well, can you prove that? Like, there's a lot of things that need proof. Like, it wouldn't even make sense towards GT's own canon because nothing in Xenoverse 2 happens in GT. Like, you're actually blowing up wormholes and fighting Super 17, Baby, and Omega at the same time with Gogeta. That would be more headcanon. Whoa, stop. I had to put the mic down for that. Stop right there. First of all, do y'all know what a parallel quest is? Do y'all know what that is? Because a parallel quest is literally, I put that on everything I love, bro. I just stubbed my toe too while I was literally doing that. I stubbed my toe. If y'all know what a parallel quest is, let me know in the comments down below, because I don't think y'all know what a parallel. I don't think this dude knows what a parallel quest is supposed to be. Because, Lord, while they are side missions, they are inherently pieces of the Xenoverse story, bro. Like, yo. Like, this doesn't debunk it. Like, this assessment right here, Xenoverse is literally a story about not allowing the main timeline or the main line of the story to change. Facts. Like, bro, what? Dude, literally, the premise of the game is about preserving the main continuity. Like, what? What? Bro. And even then, not only is GT a part of like Xenoverse outright because of the parallel quest, there are like, I think 10 or 20 parallel quests for GT, like outright. So yes, the story of GT is a part of Xenoverse. It's an outright thing. Like, it's a part of that. Like, what? And here's the thing. everybody keeps saying, well, like it has to be a story mission or it's not included. That doesn't make any sense because you don't go through the entirety of the Dragon Ball story in the story mode. You do not go through all of that. Like you go through parts of it, pieces, little bits and pieces of it, but you do not go through the entirety of the story. Like, no. So like it can't just be a main story mode thing. Like it can't just be that. Like, no. What the hell? That was so weird. You literally open up wormholes and go fight. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? Them opening up wormholes and like, yeah, because that timeline isn't being altered. It's being changed. The GT timeline is being altered. The whole point of it is to restore it back to normal. Like, what? Oh, God. Anyway. Next. That would be more headcanon to say that. And Beerus is not once referenced in GT as well. Well, gee, golly, it's almost like as if Dragon Ball GT didn't come out 2 decades before this game or this movie or anything like that dropped. Like, what? Also, Frieza isn't mentioned for a majority of Dragon Ball GT. He's only mentioned when he's seen, but for a majority of the show, he isn't mentioned because he isn't around. When characters aren't around, they don't get mentioned because they don't matter. Like, because they don't matter right now. They don't. Like what? You only go through pieces of the story that Toa and Mira tried to change, but it's literally going through the story of Dragon Ball. I don't know what that guy was on, bro. Facts. Like, all right, I ain't gonna lie. I was that guy that like skipped through a majority of the Dragon Ball story, like the Dragon Ball cutscenes in like Xenoverse 2, like the story mode cutscenes. I skipped through like a majority of them. I ain't gonna lie. Like, and even I understand this. Like, I still finished the story mode. I just skipped through like a lot of the story, like a lot of the stuff. I just skipped through a lot of it. Can say Kakarot has Mira in it. That means Mira was in the Dragon Ball Z timeline. It doesn't mean he actually was. So let's not just do that. What did that wait. What? Could in Dragon wait, I'm so confused because the only reason why Mira is in Dragon Ball Kakarot is because of what happened to Toa in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. And Dragon Ball Kakarot is stated to be canon to the main continuity. Not just that, but an event in Dragon Ball Kakarot literally shows up on the screen in Dragon Ball Superhero, which is the main continuity. Yo. I think I'm starting to lose my marbles. I think I'm starting to lose my brain. This is and this is what y'all was saying was cooking me up. This is what y'all was saying was cooking me up. That's crazy. That is insane. I wow. I feel highly disrespected. That's crazy. Y'all was saying like I feel disrespected by that. I feel disrespected by that. All right, let me stop playing. All right. Let's get to this. Man Child of the Century. Very obvious. Hey, that's a very spot on name. Very spot on name. Man Child of the Century. That's a very spot on name. I'm on dick, but you're treating this shit as a different dimension altogether when in reality, it's the same shit you thought people weren't going to see. Wait, bro. Can y'all are y'all allergic to using punctuation in y'all sentences? Because I can't read this, bro. I can't read this illiterate garbage. I can't. Like, bro, y'all just allergic to using a comma or a period or a question mark or something. Like, yo, use something. I'm trying to read, bro. When it's really all the same shit. It's not. Again, Sugodoku space is a completely different space that transcends the concepts of space and time. And why I say Sugodoku space, I'm just like saying Sugodoku space, but including the subspace as well. I'm trying to keep it like in a simplistic way. So I can explain it very simply. You thought people weren't going to see through the bullshit you made up. Plus, you literally scaled them both to complex or scaled them both complex to outer and to have a measurable speed and used up made up multipliers for Dragon Ball Super's Goku Blue and God forms with no real proof that those multipliers exist. If they have the same strength and speed and other stats, it would literally just be up to interpretation and who you think wins. Congratulations, Sherlock. It's not like I said that. It's not like I said that in the video or anything. It's not like I made that clear in multiple comments. Like what? Bro, you're telling me my intention on my video, and it's something that I said in my video multiple times. What are you talking about? Bro, this is what I mean about people not using their brains, but they want to keep trying to come at me, bro. I was trying to be nice. I was trying to be cool, cordial, nice. I'm trying to, help everybody understand what I understand, help people get it. But then you got people like this just complaining and crying because they can't prove their points to be valid. Like, what? Like, I told y'all in the video, you don't have to use those multipliers. You do not have to use what Sand Scholar said. You don't. You do not have to use that. But if you feel in your heart that it's consistent and you interpret them to be consistent and viable and valid, then there should be nothing going against them. Like the logic that Sand Scholar presented in that video, I'm not going to say it's foolproof, but it's most certainly amazing. Like, it's a great logic. It's not contradictory at all. Like, to me at least, and you could find me a contradiction, but like that would be on you. Like, I don't know how you want me to explain it for you. Like, it's very simple. Then he said, what he said, that's why I said the vid fucking sucks. Who the fuck gives them basically the same shit in the power scaling video? But you just said one would win. I don't care if GT is weaker than Dragon Ball Super. Your scaling just sucks. Right. Okay, cool. You added Xenoverse 2 to your argument. Like, what the fuck? You used a video game to scale GT in the movies and still have them both and still have both of them the same scale. I guess Heroes is the same shit since it came before Xeno. Okay, this was like just a bunch of illiterate mumbo jumbo just put together to make any kind of minute sense, and it doesn't make any sense at all. Because again, you made a claim right here. Prove me wrong. Prove Xenoverse to be not canon. Prove Xenoverse to be not canon. That's all I ask. If you can do that, we fine. We square. And again, I want you to use your brain, buddy. I scaled Goku. I scaled Xeno Goku and CC Goku. Oh, no. Whoa. I scaled GT Goku and Super Goku to like in the ranges of complex multi to outer, right? The reason why I said that is because both sides can be debunked. Both sides are arguable. Both sides are inferences. You could infer, you could scale them different ways. You could debunk scaling. That's where it is. But I'm saying at the lowest ball, or at a low ball, that's where they end up, right? It's all about who could dig higher into these states. That's why I mentioned the multipliers. That's why I mentioned the amount of constructs that Goku destroyed in both Super and GT. That's why I talked about it. Because if you think that they're both outer versal, then you would have to argue who's in the higher tier of outer. If you thought they were both complex multi, you would have to argue that. That's what I mean. Like, yo, what part aren't you getting about that? You didn't even say anything about the scaling. You just cried about where I scaled them to. That's all it was. Like, you didn't even, like, what? This is pathetic. This is like pathetic. I'm mad that I literally sat down, took time to read this. Like, bro. Jesus Christ. Yo. This was insane. This was crazy to me, bro. I just don't believe I actually sat down and read that. All right. What's next? Responding to your fourth message, didn't Vegeta state in the Namek Saga as one powers or strength grows, your speed increases as well? Why wouldn't power equal speed then? Is there something I missed or don't understand? What this means is that power and speed rise at the same time. Like, power and speed both rise at the same time. Like, when power rises, your speed rises as well. At least if something isn't like making, like, for example, Super Saiyan grade 3 powers up your muscles so much to the point where, like, you quite literally get, your speed dropped. Like, your speed drops because of that. It's another example. Super Saiyan 3. Like, yeah, your speed and strength, all that goes up. All that goes up. But then as time passes, stamina like rapidly drops you. So like as long as something isn't inhibiting your speed or like, breaking you down, power and speed should be like equal in the sense that when one rises, the other rises as well. But like, for example, if somebody has like infinite speed, they don't have infinite power. If that makes sense to you, like not in that aspect. Because someone has infinite speed, they don't have infinite power. Like it's like that. But yeah, like and like I don't even think that's what Vegeta genuinely said. I think Vegeta said something along the lines of like he was speaking into like the power level as a whole. Like he was speaking on like how if I have a higher power level than you, and when my power level rises, my strength and speed does as well. So, excuse me. Um, that was more so just like a yeah. To me, that just sounded like a little hiccup. All right, what's next? I might have to do like a few more and then get up out of here because we've been here for too long. It's been like an hour. Um, Omega Shenron is universal, or Omega Shenron's universal feat was much slower than Super's base feat. Trash video. I already responded to this. I just had to read it again. Oh, we're done? We are not done. We are not done. I thought we was finished. No. No. All right. Okay. Then this dude just like dropped Chat GPT on me. He just ran to Chat GPT. All right. So the absence of the concepts of space and time doesn't automatically imply being beyond them. Here are a few points to consider. Conceptual absence versus actual state. Just because a being or entity doesn't have the concepts of time and space doesn't mean it exists beyond. That's like literally just the same claim. Repeat it. It might simply mean that the entity doesn't perceive or understand these concepts in the same way that humans do. Okay, so yeah, just referring to mental aspects and like how someone mentally perceives them. Yeah, okay, that's not what they're talking about though. Like in the scan, they never mention anything about somebody's perception. They never even imply that. Like, no, it's about where the scale, or like that's about where the dimension or the space scales inherently. Like, no, it's not about a different outlook of how somebody else sees, like, or how somebody else sees it. That's like saying Super Saiyan God over the over UI because UI didn't blow up the world of war. Yeah, it's stupid. Like literally doesn't make any sense. Dimensionality in theoretical physics and cosmology, being beyond time and space often implies existing in higher dimensions or in a state that transcends our conventional understanding of the universe. However, this is a complex and speculative area of study. This didn't really debunk me. It didn't talk anything about conceptuality. Like it just talked about like literally being beyond space and time, which is like a 5D feat. I don't really care about that. Yeah, this was like just Chat GPT. Like this is just Chat GPT. Bro, did you know that all the Dragon Ball Z movies are canon? I outright said this in the video. Like, I outright said this in the video. I thought MUI Goku beat Super Saiyan 4 Goku. That's Dragon Ball Heroes. Responded to that already. Ironically, this would determine if Kaba could beat Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Bro, Kaba doesn't even get past Goten and GT. Like, yo, bro, GT Goten is beating up Kaba. Like, what are we talking about? Like, oh my god, yo. Like, the what? GT Goten during Omega Shenron? You think that's not, y'all think that's not beating up Kaba, bro? Come on now. Like, no. Like, okay. If y'all have seen GT, then y'all would already know where I'm about to go with this. But GT Goten gets stronger than what he was when he had baby inhabiting his body, right? He becomes stronger than that in his base form. Then upon doing that, and by the way, I want you to understand this. This, like, and hear me well, and hear me good. Okay. GT Goku, base GT Goku, was able to go up against those two characters, Gohan and Goten, right? He goes up against Gohan and Goten, gets pressed by him, you feel me? But in some way, shape, or form, they're able to withstand attacks from this Goku, right? The same Goku that blew up Sugaroku space. I want you to understand this. So weaker versions of Gohan and Goten are able to withstand these highball outer versal attacks from Goku. They can withstand these things. Then they get stronger, right? After baby leaves their body, they then get stronger, right? And essentially they become above what they used to be when they fought Goku, right? So they even have like some low key, like, outer durability to an extent, because like Goku isn't fighting to kill his sons, obviously, but he would be. I don't think he'd be, holding back his like base power by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think that would be the case. Imagine how strong End of GT Goku would be. End of GT Goku is like very, very choppy, because like some people say Goku died in GT. I'm not of those people. I think Goku just ascended to a higher state of being. I don't think he died. But yeah, I just think he ascended to a higher state of being. I don't think he really died. I think Masako Nozawa, she made a statement about how like I don't think they like outright wrote that GT Goku or that Goku and GT died, but like it was nice to look that way. That's just Masako Nozawa's interpretation. I don't really think that like kind of feeds into like what they were actually. Hey, I didn't even mean to do this. I didn't even mean to do that. Shout out to certain man, bro. He just saying all the right shit right now. What about Mastered Ultra Instinct? Would that make Super Saiyan 4 Kakarot not able to hit the other Kakarot? I mean, not able to. He'd be able to. I just don't think it'd be as easy as it was before. And don't forget, Super Saiyan 4 Goku has like a high adaptability sense as well. Like, again, remember the video. There's attacks. Like after his body withstands or even witnesses one attack, it won't work on him again. He can feel like his opponents and the moves they're gonna make before they even make them. Like stuff like that. Like it's not ultra instinct, but it's stuff that's gonna feed and help him get into the groove of like, fighting somebody like an ultra instinct fighter. So yeah. Uh Love the video, but I have a few questions for Super. With the macrocosm being an individual feat, later arc episodes or I can't even read this, bro. Love the video, appreciate that. But I have a few questions for Super. With the macrocosm being an individual feat, yeah, I think he means was, yeah. Was the macrocosm an individual feat? Because later arcs, he's shown to be I can't even talk, bro. This grammar crazy. Because later arcs, he's been shown much weaker after that. Hey, somebody put L Reader in that chat. We're going to have a problem. He's been shown much weaker after that feat, which made me believe Beerus did it alone for the fact he mentioned he was holding back. Okay, so nah, that's not justification. So the macrocosm is an absolute individual feat. And the reason being for that is because even when Goku absorbs God Ki into his base form and stuff like that, it's stated that like Goku and Beerus are hitting each other with forces that could destroy the entire universe. So them alone could blow up the macrocosm, but them clashing like that is making it worse. But because Goku and Beerus are controlling their ki and energy, the destruction isn't really like, going so crazy. But yeah, like I know for a fact that like I know what you mean. Like in Resurrection, that Frieza had soldiers that was Namek level, and the Z Fighter struggled against them low key. Vegeta dying from the planet explosion, not necessarily a debunk because that planet explosion was focused and charged up to kill all the people on the planet, like the high tiers of the planet before. like Vegeta died directly, like he was right in front of the explosion and died. Like he got hit with the explosion. And that was more focused at, like at the fighters, and like the Earth was collateral damage. Goku had to go Super Saiyan 2 against Trunks. That's yeah, that is stated. And the three of them couldn't harm Infinite Zamasu. In Universe 6, they couldn't harm Auto Magenta or Magetta. And Vegeta was going to get disqualified from heat exhaustion. Just want to get your thoughts on it. So, what I think, this whole thing is it's actually going to feed into like the Kaba video I'm going to be making pretty soon. But just for easier understanding right now in this moment, basically, Saiyan Beyond God doesn't extend to the Super Saiyan transformations. It doesn't extend to Super Saiyan 1, 2, or 3. It doesn't. The reason being for that is because going Super Saiyan off of Saiyan Beyond God is what Super Saiyan Blue is, okay? So think of like Saiyan Beyond God as like the God base. Like it's the base God form. You feel me? It's the form for God transformations. It's the base form for God transformations, yeah. And like essentially, when Goku goes Super Saiyan off of like his divine energy, that's what Super Saiyan Blue is. So yeah. And that happens in Saiyan Beyond God. So what happened with Goku during the fight with Beerus was essentially like an unconscious effort that Goku could not make happen again. It's essentially like just something that happened unconsciously that Goku could not make happen again. Yeah. Because like when it's explained by Goku in the Super anime, the manga, the Revival of F movie, and art book, it's explained that like God like Saiyan and Super Saiyan is what like makes Super Saiyan Blue, not Super Saiyan God like Saiyan. There's a difference. There's a difference. So yeah, it's very tricky, but essentially what Goku and Beerus or what Goku and Vegeta do during the Universe 6-7 tournament arc, and stuff like that is essentially they just use their regular base forms. Like they use their regular ki and then they use their God ki later on. But yeah, that's all it really is. That's all it really is. So yeah, like Goku is just going like Goku's just using his base energy. Like he's just using his base power, no God ki, nothing like that. Essentially he is where he was during the not the Buu saga, but like he is where he was like, arguably during the fight with Beerus on, King Kai's on King Kai shit. Jiren hit him 6 times in MUI. I'm not even about to get into that. I just wanted to say, she said perhaps he died. Or hold on. She said perhaps he died. Yeah, she was just like assuming that, or like she was, thinking there was no clear answer. Like nothing we got was given. All we knew was that he just ascended with Shenron. That was it. Like nothing else was spoken about. Essentially, Super Saiyan Blue is 50 times Saiyan Beyond God. Yep. So like when they only difference is that he has 3 years of training. I think the 3-year gap in time only appears in the Battle of Gods movie. During the start of Super, I think it's been like 8 months. I think it's been like a few months since Buu died and like all that stuff was happening. all good, bro. All good. But yeah, it's just like Goku is using his regular base form. Vegeta is using his regular base form. The only times they really use Saiyan Beyond God is during the Resurrection F arc and like some pieces of the Tournament of Power. But like all in all, they use like their regular base forms when fighting people like Kaba and stuff like that. Like, yeah. So, that's what it is. So that's why, like, I don't think Kaba scales to like what Goku did to be or with Beerus. He does not scale there because like they never used God Ki on that kid. They never used God Ki on Kaba. So like, Like in the minute God Key was pulled out, Kaba got put to sleep. Kaba got put to sleep after Vegeta went hold on. The Battle of Gods at the start of Super is 4 years out of the Buu Saga. You sure? 4 years? Damn, why the kids ain't grow? This is like my main issue with Super. Like, at least with Battle of Gods, like, okay, 2 years ain't that crazy. They ain't supposed to grow that much, but 3 years, 4 years is kind of insane. And these kids ain't grown up. Like, Goten and Trunks is still the same height, still got the same haircut. You mean to tell me in 4 years they ain't do nothing different? This is not me like saying like it's not canon or nothing like that. I'm just poking fun. But yeah, like I couldn't imagine having the same haircut, the same bowl cut for 4 years. Yeah, you gonna have to end me for real. You gonna have to end me, bro. Hold up. Goku absorbed the power of Super Saiyan God in his bit. Okay, yeah, it's more complex than that. So, first and foremost, yes, Goku gained the ability to use God Ki in his base form. However, that is not a 24/7 thing. It's not something that is always active. Goku has to call upon that power to use it. And it's not something that can be mixed with his other Super Saiyan forms consciously. But when it is being absorbed and bleeding into other parts of Goku's body, that's a completely different thing, right? But when Goku uses God Ki in his base form, that is Saiyan beyond God, God-like Saiyan, whatever you want to call it, right? And when Goku goes Super Saiyan off of that form, he then turns Super Saiyan Blue. Okay, y'all understand me? Do y'all get me now? Okay, so this would then mean that you would have to demonstrate the fact that yes, sure, Goku could use some piece. He could, and matter of fact, I don't even think that Goku has the entirety of God Ki that he had when he fought Beerus. Like, I think he had like a small sliver, like a taste of it. He didn't even have a whole bunch. Like, he got a small taste of it put into his body, and then he had to call upon that himself and then like go off of it that way. So like he didn't even have as much as he had beforehand. Like a majority of his God Ki disappeared. A sliver of it stayed. And that's like backed up by what Goku said like to Frieza, the Resurrection F. So like it's heavily implied that like Goku had to do this himself. Like this was something that like Goku genuinely had to do. Um, by the way, for anybody, I don't feel like doing this research myself. It's something I don't care about. But there's a scan that everybody, I think everybody and their mom know this scan. It's the scan that everybody runs to when we claim that like the anime and manga are equal. If y'all remember the scan where like it's like a panel of Roshi or something like that. It's like a panel of Roshi on it, and it says like it's in French, and it says something along the lines of like Dragon Ball is the anime or manga. Like some people have some questions about misconceptions or you know like things are happening in the anime that don't exist in the manga. And then like something along those lines like ended up translating to like Dragon Ball is the anime and manga. I've heard it being fake, but like I never really seen any confirmation. So I just kind of like took it like I kind of made it up. But I'm trying to find it so I can show it to y'all on screen, but it's probably not there. But I'm trying to find it so I can hear this. Here it is. This scan right here. If y'all can see this, I'm gonna zoom in on it. Very blurry, but that's not Roshi. That's Toriyama himself. Never mind. That's like a drawing of Toriyama and like what he yeah, it's like Toriyama on a cloud or something like that. Yeah. So people have been saying it's like it's fake, and I not saying I don't believe them. I don't really care about that. I'm just really trying to get like a clarification on that because I used it. So Goku had to learn how to tap into his God Ki in the pre. Yep, during like that little training arc, he had to. The anime scales higher than the manga. We're talking like about Z. Um, Z's anime scales higher than the Z manga. Yeah, because of the inclusion of filler in movies. Yeah, like by a long shot, they outscale the manga. It's bad. Like they outscale the manga like tremendously, insanely. These are a lot of comments, bro. I feel like once we hit that 2-hour mark, I think it'd be a comfortable area to stop. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Super fanboys forget Goku went Super Saiyan 3 to be a Trunks who struggled against Deborah. So the God and base boost. I don't think it ended with Battle of Gods. I just don't think that like okay. So correct me if I'm wrong. They don't ever establish the gap in time between like when Deborah had to when Deborah had showed up and then like Goku Black. They do in the anime. In the manga, no. Facts. But yeah, in the manga, they explain, I believe they explain like no. The anime explains how like there's a gap in time. The manga doesn't. But like in the anime, it stated like Goku Black doesn't show up until like a couple years later. But like to me, I don't even think Trunks would be getting stronger in that time. Like Trunks is suffering from mass amounts of resource failure. Like he isn't eating as much as he should. He isn't fueling his body the way he can. He isn't training as much as he should. He doesn't have that much to train with. Like he doesn't have iron to sharpen himself with. He is not saying getting weaker, but he definitely is like keeping on to his power and just keeping himself in shape. I don't think he's getting stronger, but yeah. As for the original comment, I don't think the God and base stuff ended with Battle of Gods. I think Goku just wasn't using it in that base. Please mention GT with movies. A lot of people say it's not canon to it, despite evidence shown in the show. Like, bro, okay, I got you. So, GT is outright canon to the movies, like just outright. Like movie characters show up in GT. Goku remembers a filler or like a filler moment where he falls off a snake way in the series. Vegeta remembers a plan to eradicate the Super Saiyan, which literally had all of the movie villains inside of it. Like, bro, it's canon. It's canon. In the manga, Trunks trained it. No. I don't mean when like he was fighting with the Kais or anything like that, or like training with the Kais. I don't mean that. I mean just like just in casual time. I'm not saying that Trunks didn't train. I'm thinking like that training wouldn't be sharpening, like wouldn't be making him stronger, because like we know that like to get stronger, you have to have like a piece of iron. Like, and I mean by piece of iron is I mean like you have to have somebody at your level or like better than you constantly like to build you up, because you beating up on weaklings all day isn't going to do anything for you. That's not going to get you up there. Like it's not going to help you. Like, so you kind of have to like, it's been a resource thing. It's just kind of what it is. So I think like Trunks kind of stayed at that level a little bit stronger, but yeah, Goku all in all, just to get stronger, you need motivation, but something has to be motivating you. Like something has to be giving you that motivation. Like it's weird, but like you being in that predicament and you losing your entire livelihood isn't going to give you motivation, bro. Like it's going to give you desperation and like make you desperate to survive and live, but like motivation, not really. Like I wouldn't say that. Like, do you think MUI is a stronger form than Super Saiyan 4 in general? Say if base Goku Super was equal to base GT Goku and they both fought in their strongest forms, who would win in the end? Ooh, that's a good question. That's probably the best question I've gotten all day. Okay, that's a good one. I don't want to pull out Saiyan Scholar again. I would have to like, because Saiyan Scholar has Super Saiyan 4 as like a higher multiplier than UI. But just off of feats, I don't, that's a hard one. That's tricky. Because like they both have like their own specific advantages, but like, and without, yeah, I don't know, bro. I would have to like, I don't know. That's very tricky. Good question. I don't know. I'm leaning more towards Super Saiyan 4, but I don't know. That would require further research. I don't know. It would most likely be, yes. Somebody said it'd probably be a draw. Probably so. It would probably be a draw. Um about Goku moving in that place that Zeno destroyed. I've heard people say that Zeno didn't destroy time and space and only destroyed the universe. What do you think? Um, no, he outright like erased Future Trunks' entire timeline, like outright. Like he erased that entire timeline, gone off the face of the earth. Like the time ring was destroyed. Not just that, but like I'm gonna be wholeheartedly honest with you, bro. We've seen like what universes look like on the outside. Like we've seen what they look like, and what the timeline look like, and what a universe looks like when it's been taken off the map are not the same thing. They just didn't look the same. So I'd probably say like I'd probably say yeah, no, he destroyed the entire timeline. Oh wait, yeah, no, that was the last comment. All right. All right, folks, we have officially gotten through every single one of these comments. We have literally like tallied all of them up, talked about all of them. Have you seen Drip Sauce's video about every version of Goku from the movies and games are canon to the main timeline except for Xeno Goku and GT Goku? Do you believe that? No. I believe that everything is canon. I don't believe that they're all canon to each other. I think that's like the stupidest shit ever. Like, no hate to Drip. I rock with Drip, but like it just doesn't make any sense. Like, it literally doesn't make any sense. Like, okay, I'm gonna try to put it to you like this, right? If we're saying that all movies, games are canon to like the main continuity, then why does Super Broly exist? Like, why does Super Broly exist? Like, I don't understand that. Like, you can say it's a retcon, I get, but that's never been established. Like, it's never been established to be a retcon or a remake. Like, I don't know, bro. That's tricky. But why does Broly exist? Like two of them. Why do two Brolys exist? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know. Why does Goku not remember transforming into Gogeta or fusing into Gogeta during Fusion Reborn? Like, why doesn't he remember that? Like, why doesn't he ever use the Dragon Fist in the main continuity? Like, why doesn't he do these things? And this is not, and look, this is not the same thing as what people were doing before. Because like this is stuff that's like is actually reliant on the plot. Like, drop the Dragon Fist, but like there being two Brolys and then all movies being like in the same like thing just is contradictory outright. Like, that's contradictory. Like, there literally can't be two Brolys, bro, in the same continuity. Like, what? That insane. Like, I don't really get that. I think everything is in fact canon though. I think Drip just kind of misunderstood it. Like, to put it plainly, what I mean by everything is canon is that, like, okay, Xenoverse is a Nexus hub. Like I said, it's canon to every timeline because every timeline feeds into Xenoverse, right? Like, that's what I mean. Kakarot, same way. Budokai Tenkaichi 3, like that stuff like that. Like BT3, okay, I'll say that's canon. Cool. Like the material in that game, canon, fine. The material in Raging Blast, canon, fine. That doesn't really, those aren't really contradictory things. But saying things like the movies are canon to the main continuity, that is contradictory because, again, like I mentioned before, it just doesn't make sense because there's two Brolys now. Goku all of a sudden forgets fusion, right, in the Broly movie, and stuff like that. Like, there's just stuff like that that doesn't make any sense. Like, it's just very confusing. Like, I don't know, that it just it's odd. I would never say that though. Like, everything is canon, just canon to their own things respectively. Like the manga, the Toei verse is one thing. Like the Toei verse is one thing. Toriyama's original vision is another thing. Like, stuff like that. Like, it's a lot of different stuff, bro. So like, yeah, very odd, very weird like assessment to say like, everything is canon to the main continuity. But that's it. That's it. Besides that, do you got the scan from the perfect files about Gogeta being the mightiest warrior in all dimensions? I will grab that for you. I'll probably like post it on my page or something like that, and I'll just tag you in it. Because I don't have it on hand, and I would have to like go find it and translate it. Have you seen Surfbone's live streams about 6D Dragon Ball or Infinite to Immeasurable Speed Goku? No, I don't really plan on. Surfbone is, I can't say this word on YouTube, but Surfbone is like a glorified like rapist. Like that man literally raped the girl, and hides behind this weird idea, like ideological idea that like he hides behind this weird assessment that like what he did was perfectly consensual, and that like since both parties are drunk, essentially like it would render like consent on both ends useless, and that's just like, and like essentially he wouldn't be a rapist that way, but that's just not how that works. Like bro, what? Like, so yeah, like the girl was way more inebriated than he was. like I don't know, he's changed his story so many times to make it seem like he didn't do anything. So I'm like, if you really didn't do anything, then why would you need to change your story so many times? It's just like very, very much weird stuff. I don't mess with Surfbone as a person, as a debater, as a content creator. I think Surfbone is he's a tumor, bro. I don't know. He's very, very much so like weird. I don't trust Surfbone. I think Surfbone is very odd. I think anybody defending Surfbone still in this current day deserves jail time. I feel like this is just very weird. Like camping behind a rapist so heavily is just odd to me. Noodles. Like, dude, it just doesn't work with me. He can't accept GT or he can't accept Goku as beyond multiversal. Facts. He doesn't like to talk about Dragon Ball in a good light. I've already debunked Surfbone before. Like he cries about people committing fallacies that he can't ever like not commit. Like it's just so weird to me. Very odd person, very odd specimen. I don't, Surfbone just doesn't really deserve my respect. But yeah, I think chat's starting to slow down now, so we can I'll give it like 5 more minutes. I'll be right back, chat. Hold up. One more thing before I go, chat. I just wanted to tell y'all like a few things that we're gonna be on the schedule very soon. Obviously, the Kappa debunk is coming. I'm gonna be doing like some key explanation stuff. Then I got like obviously I was gonna do the GT and superpower scale. That's still gonna probably keep going. I'm probably still gonna keep doing that. We got a reaction video coming. That should probably be up tomorrow. I'm going to be reacting to Event or Avent or however you say that man's name. He made a video talking about the strongest Boo, and I heavily disagree with it. So we'll be doing a reaction video to that tomorrow. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the rest of like, these coming weeks. I have some bigger projects coming too. The scales are obviously gonna get out the way. I gotta get that out the way and stuff like that. Still gotta get the canon guy out the way. I gotta do that too. The canon guy has to get done. I gotta power scale a lot of Dragon Ball, man. Like I've made a promise that I was gonna like power scale, the super anime, the super manga, the Z anime, the Z manga. I was gonna power scale like all of that. Those aren't really long videos, but like, bro, they take some time, like to get into the mood for it or research for it. Like it takes some time. So yeah. All right, chat. That's everything that I wanted to say. Get off my chest. All the comments I was responding to for the day. I love each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all so much for the support. I really appreciate y'all. I really appreciate what y'all been doing for me. More videos coming soon. We're gonna be consistent on all that. Monetization is on the way, but yeah, with that being said, I'm out. Y'all have a good day. Y'all feel me? Peace out, y'all.